In this video, we're going to be solving compound inequalities. Let's take a look at our first example. Here we have 4 is less than x minus 3, which is less than or equal to 7. Because we only have one variable here, we know that this is an AND equation. So and that will help us later. So when we have an AND equation, we're doing one problem as we go. So here, we see that we have an x plus 3, correct? Because we just want this x by itself. So we need to get rid of the minus 3. So we're going to add 3, not just to the left side, but we're actually going to have to add that to the middle and then to both wings. So that that goes away, so that we then have x is less than or equal to 10 and greater than 7. And now we can graph that. So this is our solution. And we're going to graph that at the numbers, let's see, 7, then we can go 8, 9, and then there's 10. And we don't need to do all of the numbers if we don't want to, just so that we have the general idea. So we're going to have an open circle at 7 and a closed circle at 10, and then our points are going to be connected. So here on part B, we have 15 is greater than or equal to negative 5g is greater than or equal to negative 10. We're trying to get the g by itself. So you need to ask yourself, what is the negative 5 doing to the g? In this AND compound inequality. That's right, it's multiplying. So what's the inverse of multiplying? Dividing. So dividing to 1 is dividing to all, just like adding to 1 is adding to all. You got to do it to everything. So we're going to divide the middle by negative 5, but then we have to do it to both wings. So that's going to give us, we have our g, and we're not dividing, oh, we divided by a negative. What are we going to do? Right? When we divide by a negative, we have to do something special to our symbols. So they can't stay greater than or equal to's. They're going to flip. And that's going to give us a great opportunity to see what happens. So 15 divided by negative 5 is a negative 3. And negative 10 divided by negative 5 is a negative 2. And we have our small number on the left, our big number on the right, so we're good to go. So we're going to go ahead and graph this. And so we're going to have the numbers negative 3 and negative 2. And then we've got negative 1, 0, 1, and negative 4, negative 5, negative 6. We're going to have a closed circle at negative 3 and a closed circle at 2. And because it's an AND equation, or inequality rather, then our dots are going to be connected. Let's take a look at letter C. Here we have z plus 4 is less than 2, or negative 3z is less than negative 27. So this automatically tells us that we're dealing with an OR. So this is how to work an OR problem. You're going to divide it down the middle, just like that, and you're going to work out two separate problems. So here, we'll do the problem on the left first. So we're trying to get the z by itself. So we need to get rid of that plus 4. So what's the inverse of plus 4? Yep, it's minus 4. So we'll minus 4 to both sides, and that's going to give us z is less than negative 2. Then we're going to write the word or between them. And now we're going to solve the other side. So here, we want to get the z by itself, and right now that negative 3 is multiplying with the z. So the inverse of multiplication is division. So we're going to divide both sides by negative 3, and that's going to give us a z, but remember we just divided by a negative, which means we have to switch our symbol to a greater than sign. And negative 27 divided by negative 3 is 9. And so now we're going to graph this. Z is less than -2 or Z is greater than 9. And so that is our inequality. So here's my -2. I'm going to put my 9 right here. A number between -2 and 9 is 0. A number bigger is 15. A number smaller is -10. So I'm going to have an open circle at -2 and an open circle at 9. And because it's an OR, that means my arrows are going to point away from each other. Let's take a look at one more. This one's a little bit more complex, but notice how there's only one variable, the x, and 2 arrows. There's no word or, so this tells us this is going to be an and. So before we actually get kind of started on this, the first thing that we're going to want to do is to distribute that 1/3 so that we have -8 is less than or equal to 2x, well, let's do that in pink so we can see it, 2x plus 8. Now, you also could have multiplied everything by 3 and gotten the same thing, but this worked well. So now we have a two-step equation inside, because remember, we're trying to get that x by itself. So when we have a two-step equation, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get rid of the adding and subtracting stuff first. So we'll begin by subtracting 8 from this middle and both of the sides. And that's going to give us a -16 is less than or equal to 2x is less than or equal to 4. Then we'll divide everything by 2. We're out of room, so we're just going to move it over here so that we can see it. And that's going to give us a -8 is less than or equal to x is less than or equal to 2. And now we're ready to graph that. So we're going to have our -8 and our 2, and a number between them is 0. A number that's bigger is 10. A number that's smaller is -10. And we're going to have a closed circle at -8 and a closed circle at 2. And because it's an and, which way should we connect those? Should they go together or should they go apart from each other? It's going to go together because it's an and. And so that is how you solve compound inequalities.